Hello, welcome. How are you today? Very well, I hope. So today we're going to be looking at r/best of Redditor updates. I'm going to give a little trigger warning at the start for this one because there are discussions of stalkers and, scary stalker activity. So if that's something that you are sensitive to and you can't listen to, I totally get that. Feel free to dip out. There are so many videos now that I have posted. You'll have plenty to go and look at instead. And you can join me on the next one. It's not a problem. Look after yourself. You don't need to listen to me waffle and damage your own mental health. Okay, but yeah, if you do want to stick around and look through that with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Anyway, so this one was shared to the subreddit by Secure Raspberry 763. New poster I'm noticing. We haven't seen them before, have we? I feel like in the Best of Redditor Updates subreddit, I kind of get used to seeing the same faces posting, so this is fun. I like it. Title of this one is My Old Stalker is Back, and my husband is making me feel like I'm the crazy one. So obviously the original poster is in the screenshot on the screen, trigger warnings for stalking and obsessive behaviour. Okay, so it was originally posted May 22nd, 2025. Hi, sorry, this is my first time writing in and I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to jump in. I'm using a throwaway because I'm sure my actual account is being watched. Also, fake names. Very, very smart. So I, 32F, and my husband, 33M, have been arguing a lot recently over my old stalker. For some background, back in college, I was 24, dated a guy, let's call him Fred, for around 2 months. Fred was interesting, to say the least. To save time, he had several red flags once we started dating, so I dumped him. Fred acted like he couldn't care less, so I thought that was that. Few months go by and I'm starting to see Fred everywhere. I see him at the grocery store I go to, my go-to nail place, my favourite restaurants, etc. I thought it was just a weird coincidence, so I left it at that. A year after our breakup, he starts messaging me, telling me he was the happiest with me and that he misses me so much. I called BS and blocked him. Yeah, and also, before anyone says anything, and I know you guys won't because you're all great and you're all very understanding, I just want to say it for anyone who's new and may not be as understanding. I don't want to hear a friggin' thing about, oh, well, you got with him, you got with someone who was like that, you should have vetted him better. I'm sorry, but these abusive, narcissistic, stalkery, whatever, insert horrible person here types, they hide their flaws until they've got you where they want you, Until they have you pinned down, they're not going to show you that they're weird. They're not going to show you their red flags. They're very good at hiding them because they know that no one would look at them or touch them with a 10-foot barge pole if they showed them. So back to the post after my little rant. Then things escalated. Fred changed numbers every time I blocked him, made new social media accounts, and I started seeing his car everywhere. I tried getting a restraining order against Fred, but since he hadn't done anything to me, they couldn't do anything. A month later, I was walking to my car at night. Fred, coincidentally, saw me walking alone and offered me a ride home. I said no, that I had my own car and kept walking. Fred proceeded to get out of his car and tried pushing me to his car. I punched him and ran to my car. I drove away and luckily he didn't follow. I tried again to get a restraining order, but it was basically his word against mine. That's so scary. He literally tried to kidnap the OP and they still wouldn't allow a restraining order. That is horrifying. Oh my goodness. This is also why so many victims of abuse or the R word, which obviously I cannot say because that's so stupid, but I can't. That's why they don't report it, because they don't get taken seriously. It's disgusting. Anyway, they gave me a temporary restraining order, but that's it. I was terrified of even walking outside and deleted all of my socials. Thankfully, a close friend, let's call him Pete, stepped in to defend me. Pete ended up threatening Fred and I finally stopped hearing from Fred. I felt free and slowly started getting back into my normal life. Now to present day, I'm now married to my husband. I've graduated from college and live alone with my husband. We moved to a nearby city and bought a house together. Sadly, a month ago, Pete died during his sleep, and I was absolutely devastated. That's so sad. I've known Pete since I was in high school, and he was my closest friend. To be honest, I'm still not over his death, and sometimes I can't believe he's gone. But guess who heard about his death? That's right, folks. Fred found out and is now back. Oh, right, so the threat from Pete was the only thing keeping him away for all these years? I received texts from Fred a few days ago after Pete died. I now see him everywhere and he's insisting we talk. I just walk away and ignore him. I've reported him, but nothing has happened, so I deleted my socials again. Friends have been telling me Fred has been asking around about me. He's asked if I moved, what I am doing lately, if I have other social media accounts, etc. I'm honestly terrified. I've moved since I finished college, but somehow I see him at my gym, grocery store, park, etc. It honestly makes me believe he never stopped watching me, and it's terrifying. I've told my husband about everything, and oh my goodness, he says I'm overreacting or just plain ignores my concerns and changes the subject. I'm sorry, but any bloke that turns around and says that you're overreacting or ignores your concerns is probably the type to do that themselves. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what the hell? And not only that, just dismissing your partner like that over something so incredibly serious is disgraceful. I've argued that he doesn't care, and he argues back asking what do I expect him to do? He says that Fred doesn't know where we live and that we'll just change gyms. My husband is telling me to just change my regular routine and stop going to certain places. He says it's no big deal and Fred is harmless. What? I'm like, Fred tried to force me into his car. How is that harmless? Yeah, how is that harmless, husband? What is wrong with your brain cells? My husband has been distant ever since this started, and I feel alone. I don't want to tell my friends in fear that they will tell Fred. I mean, if you're worried that your friends are the types to grass you up to Fred, they're probably not good friends either. I can't go to my family because I'm no contact with them. And now, of course, my husband couldn't care less. If I had a partner who was being stalked and then this stalker showed back up, believe you me, I'd be taking out many years of pent-up rage on this disgusting stalking weirdo. I would not be taking it lying down, and I would certainly not be telling them they're overreacting. What the hell? Like, honestly, how can a loving partner look at that and say, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong here, there's no concern here? I would be so worried. I'd be like, you're going nowhere without me until this creep either fucks right off or gets arrested. I need advice. What do I do? Am I crazy? Should I just change my gym and my routine like how my husband says? Part of me just wants to move completely, but another part is basically asking myself, why do I have to uproot my life and change everything because of him? Can't he just leave me alone? It's been like 10 years already, and I want to move on from this. Should I just talk to Fred, hoping he finally leaves me alone? Added comments from the OP. What does her husband think? 1. My husband thinks I'm overreacting and says if anything happens that Fred will end up in jail. Don't make me laugh. And I hate when he says that, because what does it even mean? Do I have to end up in a ditch so I can finally be left alone? Precisely. Exactly. 2. My husband's excuse is that the law will protect me, and if Fred tries anything, he'll end up in jail. It pisses me off when he says that. Do I have to end up in a ditch so I can finally be taken seriously? Clearly, the law didn't protect you last time. They gave you a temporary restraining order and said, off you pop. Like, is he stupid? I think he might be. Do I think that there is some space for the OP's husband to be looking at this in a calm way to try and keep her calm? Of course. The husband going, what do we do? Is not going to be helpful, obviously. And keeping a calm, composed demeanor around what's happening and, saying, let's get through this step by step. Let's put this into place. Let's put that into place. Do not worry. I have your back and I'm here for you is a whole lot different from going, you're overreacting. The police would deal with it if it was that serious. So, on being told to change her routine, I've been changing up my routine, hoping I won't see him, and it's worked a bit, but not entirely. I do have a protection pack, and I carry a bat in my car just in case. Update 1, May 23rd, 2025. Small update and some more information about my stalker situation. I'm still new to posting to Reddit, so for the first part of my post, it should be on my account. Not necessary information for us because someone's kindly compiled it all here for us. My friends don't talk to Fred, and they are aware of the situation. Fred has reached out to them randomly asking about me. They have reported and blocked him as well. Now for the update. Last night, I decided to have a serious conversation with my husband one last time. I sat down with him and explained the whole situation again. I told him how scared I've been and that he needs to take this seriously. I wanted to show him how terrified I was, how small I've been made to feel, not just by Fred, but also him, how his lack of support, concern for my own safety is making me question our marriage. I asked if he'd even do anything if I was found in a ditch. He was silent the whole time while looking at the floor. Oh, that would have made me want to shake him by the shoulders and be like, "Get a personality, man!" We sat in silence for a few minutes before I got up to pack my things. My husband proceeded to cry, boo-hoo. He apologised and said he'd make this right. He said he didn't want to overreact in fear of scaring me more. Valid, but then there is saying that, and then there's telling your partner they're overreacting about a 10-year-old stalker. Like, no, you can't then say, "Oh, I was just trying not to scare you." Piss off, you just didn't want to out because you're lazy and probably a bit of a fanny. But when in reality, it made me feel alone. My husband has been looking into Fred without my knowledge and has found out where he works, lives, and even Fred's family contact information. He wanted to gather more information about Fred before contacting a lawyer. I don't care. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know some people will say, "Oh, well, he has been doing something." Yeah, but he's been showing absolutely no support emotionally to his missus. He could have been doing the most. But the fact that he showed her no support and allowed her to just carry on panicking and felt so alone makes me dislike him greatly. And it makes me feel like, do you know what? You could be doing all this, but also he could be saying he's done all this. And it could be bullshit. So there we are. We're both taking a few days off of work to get our ducks in a row. We're getting a lawyer and gathering evidence of Fred's harassment. We're also currently looking for a therapist so we can both talk about this whole situation and other issues we have in our marriage. I also have some voicemails Fred has left me, and I officially think he has lost it. I would love to know what those voicemails said. I have an Apple iPhone and you're able to see voicemails from blocked numbers. Some of the messages are of him saying straight up gibberish, while others are as if he's having a conversation with me. He says things like, "Oh yeah, babe, I get off work late, so tonight is a no-go," or "I'm off, so you can come and pick it up right now." No? Yeah? I don't know. I can't do this anymore. There's a lot of fashion in my life. What? It sounds like he's having a conversation, but it's no one else, just him, and it's terrifying. Yeah, that's so scary. My husband does feel bad and is trying his best to console me. He has apologised repeatedly for making me feel lonely and has been more supportive, open. Currently, he's looking through my car to check if there's anything that might be giving my location to Fred. I'll keep you all updated if we find anything or if anything else happens. Thank you all for your advice and support. I'm still mad at the husband. I don't care. I'm still salty, all right? I've posted another update. I think you can find it in my posts. Update 2, June 6th, 2025. Wasn't sure if I should make an update, but I decided to anyways, to maybe get some more advice. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice and encouragement. I finished listening to the book, The Gift of Fear, and it really opened my eyes to a lot. Now on to the update. After my husband didn't find anything in my car, I still felt something wrong. So I took people's advice and took my car to the mechanic. Told my mechanic about my situation and if he could take a look at my car. Such a good idea. And to my horror, a couple of days later, my mechanic found a small little cube that was placed hidden under my car. At first, I really wanted to believe that it was just part of my car or something, but my mechanic explained that it wasn't and it was deliberately hidden. The cube is really small and magnetic. I called my lawyer right then and told them everything. I got pictures of the GPS and where it was placed. I thanked the mechanic and drove to my lawyer's office. At this point, I was shaking and wanted to cry. How long had the GPS been there? How long has Fred been following me without me knowing? Was he watching me at the moment? Is he going to add another one? I called my husband to meet at the lawyer's office and told him everything. At the office, I just wanted to disappear. I wanted to run away and not look back. I was terrified and I felt so violated, knowing I was being watched for who knows how long. With everything we had gathered, my lawyer was able to get a temporary restraining order that same day. We are currently going through the process of getting a restraining order where I will have to go to court and see Fred again. My lawyer says the process can be long and draining, but it's something I do need to get for my own safety. I got a bit scared and had my husband's car also checked for anything. Thankfully, nothing was found in his car. I started feeling watched at home, so I had my whole house turned upside down looking for anything maybe Fred had placed. Again, thankfully, nothing was found. I've told neighbours about what we found and to keep an eye for anyone suspicious. I've also started my safety training for handling a G and shooting, and still trying to get my CCW, but it can be a long process. Thank you again for everyone who has given me advice, and I'll keep you updated if Creepy Fred tries again. I'm assuming a CCW then is like a license to carry? Added comments. Commenter. Air tags can be very small. If you have the means, take your car to a mechanic and tell him you have a stalker. That's what they did. They can check up on the wheel wells of the car and the like. Check your purse too, just in case. I think there's an app you can download that can scan for low frequency devices like trackers tend to be. I'm glad your husband apologised and is finally taking this seriously. OP, getting checked out, thank you so much for this advice. And obviously we know that that did come up with something and that is horrifying. But yeah, I would also be checking my bag thoroughly. So down in the comments, Melodic Musical says, I don't understand why stalking isn't taken more seriously. It often leads to worse outcomes and the psychological damage it does is insane. Feeling like you never have any safety. And then Weekly Conversation 8 says, what gets me is there are supposed to be laws against stalking, yet it still happens and nothing is done until the stalker hurts the person they are stalking or worse. Why do the police still fall back on the he has to actually do something before we can arrest him? I just learned about a woman whose abusive ex pled guilty to DV and he was released on bond or something the same day. He's a very violent man. He's even attacked the current boyfriend of another ex-girlfriend. Then Usual Apple 434 says, doing something doesn't even guarantee anything. My friend's ex had been arrested and charged 26 times for domestic violence and had 3 active no contact orders when he put my friend in the hospital. He was out again within 4 days. Those 4 days he stayed were due to his drug charges. That's insane. So then Active Rough 2143 says, dude had to do the bare minimum, talking about the husband, be supportive and validate her very valid feelings, and somehow managed to fail. Yeah, exactly. She's better than me because I don't know if I'd trust him with big decisions and my safety after that. And then the Anthro Diva says, I hope they plan to be child-free. Okay, so we've come to the end of that one. Oh my goodness, that is just crazy. And it gives me all of the heebie-jeebies. I have had somebody be mildly stalkerish before, and I've told you about this in the past. I've told you guys about him in the past, the one that broke in to my old house when I was like 19. And the house I was living in, a house share. That was concerning enough, despite the fact that I could have easily beat him up. I'm not gonna lie. He was shorter than me. I could have took him. But still, the thought of being followed was enough to make me feel so uneasy and so on edge. I just hate this so much. I really hope the OP is doing good. I hope they get the restraining order. I hope Fred fucks all the way off entirely. I just hope he leaves them alone forever and a day and just gets a grip. But I fear that's not going to happen, unfortunately. But yeah, if you've made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. I hope you're not feeling too perturbed after this one. Do go and watch something a little more sprinkly. because yeah, I fear we all need it. Don't forget to leave a little like, subscribe, notifications on as your initiation into the Cult of Void. And whatever it is you're doing today, I hope you have a really good rest of your day. I hope the sun is shining and your pillow is cold tonight. Bye!